Hello and welcome to Health in Capsule. This is the overview edition where we select a particular topic and bring you the broad perspective of the topic or an overview of the topic. Today I present to you an overview of infertility. Infertility or childlessness is not just a medical problem. It has social connotations to it, and it has mental health issues like stress, anxiety, depression, and guilt. Therefore, it's very important that we define infertility. We have to know at the outset what constitutes infertility and what doesn't constitute infertility. Medically, infertility is defined as inability to conceive after 12 months of unprotected intercourse in a couple of the reproductive age group and when the woman is less than 35 years of age. You will notice that this contains various caveats like why 12 months and why the reproductive age and why of course unprotected intercourse. It's because many couple come to us, they say they have been married for 2 years, not able to conceive, and on history taking it's obvious that they are staying in different places. So they are not together as much as they need to be. Similarly, we have couples coming about 3 or 6 months, young couples coming 3 to 6 months after marriage asking for infertility treatment. So they do not constitute infertility. Now, the 12-month period that has been specified is not actually very absolute, because if we think that either of the couple has some medical issues that may interfere with infertility, then we would like to investigate and treat them much earlier than the 12-month period. Similarly, if the woman is over 35 years of age, then also we would want to treat them at the earliest as soon as they come. So there are the 12-month period is not a absolute timeline, and it depends on the condition of the couple whether we can investigate and treat earlier. And there is another reason why we say 12 months. That is because statistically about 80% of healthy couple should be able to conceive in the first year of unprotected intercourse, and then another 12% also conceive over the next 12 months. So keeping this statistics in mind, we often advise them to start treatment after 12 months if they are healthy and they don't have any medical issue. The causes of infertility. It is very important that we realize the cause of infertility can be the man, can be the woman, or it could be with both. Statistically, female factor infertility accounts for about 40 to maybe 42% of the infertile couple. Male factor infertility may be around 20, 22, 25%. And combined infertility, that is, the problem will be with both of them, maybe another 15 to 20%. And finally, about 10 to 12 or 15% of cases are classified as unexplained infertility. So unexplained infertility means when we see the reports of the couple, when we see their habits, everything appears to be normal, but still they are not able to conceive. So they are known as, even after all the investigations, we are not able to find out why they are not having a baby. It doesn't mean, see, unexplained infertility means we do not have such tests that will detect the problem with them. The problem could be at the molecular level, it could be at the cellular level, and currently we may not be having any tests to detect those. So it goes without saying that as technology advances, the category of unexplained infertility may go on coming down, because we will be able to know more and more and more about why these apparently normal couple are not able to conceive. So the female factor infertility, male factor infertility, combined infertility, combined factors, and finally unexplained infertility. It's very important here that this categorization is only for clinicians. It would be unfair on the couple if they blame each other for infertility. And this could also be one of the cause for mental health issues. And therefore, they should not blame each other if they find out that the problem is with the spouse. Instead, they should be supportive and help the clinician and the spouse to undergo the treatment. You may be wondering why there is so much of emphasis on the age of the woman and not of the man. This is because there is a very major difference in the fertility of men and women. Men are able to produce sperms all their lives. They are able to produce new sperms all their lives. Whereas it's not so with women. If it surprises you, the woman is born with all the eggs that she will ever have in her life at birth itself. Yes, this is very amusing because at birth there are between the two ovaries, a female baby would have around 1 million eggs or 10 lakh eggs. And the other point about these eggs is that the number of eggs go into attrition. They keep dying as the age of the woman, girl, or the child goes on. In other words, if the baby was born with 10 lakh eggs at birth, by the time the girl is 12, 13, or 14 years old, that is, by the time she has her first period, the number of eggs in her both the ovaries would be only around 40,000. So that means between birth and this age, the number of eggs have significantly died. Similarly, every month also, as the ovulation happens, one egg when it gets released, there are about 4-5 eggs that are just lost. And similarly, the number of eggs keep on dying to such an extent that when the woman is about 45, 47 years, there are almost no eggs in the ovary, and that is the reason why she attains menopause. So, in a woman, the reproductive life of the woman is therefore determined by the number of eggs that are present in the ovary. That is why it is very important. And moreover, the number of eggs that keep on dying, see, it just goes on like this. As after 14 years, when once she attains gets her first period, after that it goes on dying, and after 30, the number of eggs dying will go on increasing to such an extent that at 35 there's a sharp decline in the number of eggs that are available, because more and more number of eggs are dying. So that is the importance. We think that at 35, again, that 35 age is very arbitrary. We think that by 35 years, the number of eggs that are present for the woman is significantly reduced. But there are conditions like premature ovarian insufficiency where the number of eggs are very less, even at a younger age. There are many reasons why the number of eggs in a woman at 20, 22 could be less, but that is a topic for another discussion. So, suffice it to know that the fertility of men and women are different, and that is why we are taking this age of 35 as a cutoff for the woman to be treated at the earliest. The problems with male infertility can be with the number of sperms or the quality of sperms and various other smaller aspects. Whereas with the female infertility, the problems could be with the ovaries, the problems could be with the tubes, the problem could be with the uterus and hormones, as explained in this diagram. Let me give you a brief overview of how the egg gets released and what is the process of fertilization and implantation. See, normally about 4 to 5 eggs starts developing in a cycle, and out of this only one egg matures and it gets released. And this release occurs about 14 days before the next menstrual period. Then what happens? This is picked up by these finger-like projections of the tube, that is called the fimbriae, and this egg goes all the way here and it waits here. So the egg does not go fully to the uterus, but it stays in the tubes. This is the fallopian tubes. And when there is intercourse, the semen is deposited here in the vagina. This is the vagina. So the semen is deposited inside the vagina, and these sperms travel all the way into the uterus up to the tubes. So they meet the egg over here, and then the fertilization, that is the fusion of the egg as well as the sperm, occurs here. And this is the small embryo that gets formed, and this we call it as a fertilized egg, not an embryo still. This fertilized egg then travels back into the uterus and gets implanted inside the uterine cavity. Therefore, it follows that the problems of infertility can be because of the male or because of the female. So, the female factors for infertility can start with number 1, problems with the ovary. That means the egg is not getting developed properly. Number 2, there can be the problem in the pickup of the egg. That means there can be a tubal block, or this can get blocked over here, and therefore the egg cannot go. Number 3, it can be because of some problem inside the uterus. Either the endometrium is not very well, or there is a fibroid, so many other causes, or there is the whole of endometrium is scarred, and therefore there is no place for the fertilized egg to get deposited. So this could be the problem. Again, sometimes now this sperm may not be able to penetrate into this cervix because of a hostile cervical environment. So this can also be the cause. And finally, as we all know, there could be some hormonal causes also that is interfering either with ovulation or with implantation. And now for the men, the problem could be with the semen. So either the number of sperms are less, or the quality of semen is poor. And even if both of them are okay, for reasons unknown, and maybe for one of these hostile cervical path, the entry of these sperms into the uterus and all the way up to the tubes may not be possible. And therefore, in such situations, we resort to artificial reproductive techniques. Like in the investigation of infertility again is directed towards finding out what is the cause of infertility. It could be blood tests, and it could be ultrasound scans to see whether the eggs are being released. And as I told you, to determine the number of eggs that are present in the ovary, we may do something called the AMH, or the anti-Mullerian hormones, and tailor-made to every patient, we may order certain specific investigations. Whereas for the man, it is only a semen analysis after about 2 to 5 days of abstinence, and that we will compare with the parameters of the WHO to see whether that semen is healthy or not. And for the women, we may have other investigations like I told you ultrasound. We may have something like the tube testing, or we may do a laparoscopy, we may do a hysteroscopy, depending on what is the condition that we are suspecting and what we hope to seek. It follows therefore that the treatment of infertility is dependent on the cause of infertility. If it is the woman or the man or combined factors, we go ahead and treat it accordingly. I always give an analogy to my patients, because many patients have this mindset that they should not be taking any medicines for ovulation inductions, or if medicines, oral medicines are okay but injections are not okay. So they have a lot of misconceptions. So I have this analogy, if a patient has fever and goes to the doctor might just give them some oral medicines to reduce the fever, might give them oral antibiotics, might give them injectable antibiotics, might ask for special tests, and might even admit the patient if it is necessary. So it depends on what we think is the cause. So the treatment is therefore directed towards it. So when you go to a doctor wanting to have a baby, I think it is very important that the couple go with an open mind. So we do not expect you to decide at the first sitting itself if you need any further treatment, advanced treatment. So you can always discuss between yourselves and discuss with your doctor, and then come to a consensus. It's not fair that you say that I don't want to be given oral medicines, or I don't want to be given injectables, or I don't want to go in for assisted reproductive techniques. Now the science is so advanced that there is a treatment for almost all kinds of infertility. We have something like the assisted reproductive techniques that includes intrauterine insemination. It includes IVF, that is in vitro fertilization, uh, uh, which is known as test tube baby for the general public. And even we have much more advanced condition techniques like egg donation, sperm donation, embryo donation, and finally even surrogacy. So for all the causes of infertility, there is some treatment, but it may be a specialized form of treatment, that may be an assisted reproductive technique for which the woman and the man, the couple, should be uh, accepting it. So, by this, it is very obvious that the causes of infertility are different. The definition of infertility also varies. And finally, it follows that the treatment of infertility is therefore dependent on the causes of infertility. Therefore, there is no blanket treatment for infertility, and every infertile couple has to be evaluated individually, and treatment should be tailor made for the individual. So, though the treatment and investigations are tailor made, there are a few basic things that is commonly advised for all patients. Number one, if you have any medical issues like hypertension or diabetes or thyroid issues or any other thing, or asthma, try to control the medical conditions. So if you're getting into you're getting treated and you're going to get pregnant, so you might as well get pregnant with a very conducive atmosphere, and therefore the medical condition must be treated. Secondly, and most importantly, there is this issue of weight. So if you're overweight, most often try to optimize your weight, because it helps in the treatment of infertility also, and it helps to reduce in the results in the treatment of infertility, and it also helps to reduce the complications if you are to get pregnant. And the third issue is we often prescribe folic acid during the preconceptional period. That is because folic acid has been proved to prevent neural tubal defects of the baby, that is the defects of the brain and the spinal cord. So you have to optimize your weight, you have to take folic acid and optimize the medical condition. Then, and most importantly, cigarette smoking, alcohol. The man as well as the woman, they should keep away from cigarette smoking, abstain from alcohol, and also substance abuse. So to sum it all up, infertility has its own definition, has its own treatment, has its own investigations, which has to be tailor made to the couple. The couple should be treated as a unit. And finally, while you're waiting for your investigation, you need to follow certain advice by your doctors, and always keep in mind that stress also is one of the contributory factors for infertility. And in present times, there are varied treatments that is available, and most infertile couple will be able to have that baby that they always want. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you people like this, and please get back if you have any doubts or queries. Thank you so much.